Next Level Conversation with Jeff Gabriel.
So you're a doctor, and even though you're not an infectious disease expert, how do you feel about the way that? I mean, you must have some opinions. You're
Well,
smart.
it's what I just said. It's what I just said. I mean, I have had a more optimistic view. I had a couple patients and actually a drug rep tell me this week that they said they feel good when they talk to me about the pandemic because, I'm the only optimistic person around. Maybe I'm just, I'm kind of optimistic by nature, but I try to be, a scientific person and follow, what I think is, science to the best of my ability. And I really think that, yeah, the media has totally politicized and hyped this to a large extent.
Mhm.
And like I said before, I think this is going to be almost, practically life will be coming back to normal by the end of this year, the beginning of next year. And by the spring and summer of 2021, I think life will be normal again.
So let me
That's how I feel right now.
ask you a couple of the conspiracy theories, slash, investigator type of questions. Just light conversation. We're not taking it too seriously. You think the virus was organic? It just happened itself? Do you think it came out of a lab? Do you think it was?
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know. I think it either, it does seem a little strangely coincidental that the main virology lab in China, in Wuhan, happens to be, the blocks from where they claim the virus originated, with the pangolins, that market is just, in the same city as the virology lab. It wouldn't surprise me if they find that the virus was being engineered for who knows what purpose. I don't think the Chinese released it on purpose. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I wouldn't be surprised though that it was released by accident.
Right.
On the other hand, I guess there's some evidence that it did come from these animals, but we do know it came from Wuhan.
I've listened to some evolutionary biologists who've said, and again, this is just hearsay talk. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. We're just ripping that the virus behaves like it comes from inside, like it was designed inside. And again, I'm not an expert, but the way it moves,
yes,
it transfers, it behaves like it was born and lives indoors.
Oh, well, I thought, yeah, I mean, I've spoken to some infectious disease doctors, and they were saying that if they were going to engineer a virus, if they were going to have it, have all the qualities that would almost certainly lead to a worldwide pandemic, it would be the way this coronavirus is, which kind of lends support to the idea that it was engineered in the lab.
Right. We're never gonna know.
Yeah, I think exactly. I don't think maybe in 50 years or 100 years, somebody will come out and be like, "Yeah, it was me. I was working on it in the lab." On his deathbed, he's gonna.
I think a guy opened the back door of the lab and he said, "Come here, little kid." And he handed out like a little lollipop, like a bat, like on a stick, like a little lollipop.
Yeah, right. And he said, "Feed it to your pangolin."
Yeah, give it to your friend over there. The kid was walking down the street like licking a bat, and that's how it all started. But there's definitely some fishiness. Did you see the Elon Musk interview on Joe Rogan when he talked about this? It was interesting.
No.
Because he really wanted his car facility out in California to open up. I get it. And he was probably feeling the pressure. He said he was kicking ass in China. They were like full bore production.
Yeah.
But he said something really interesting. He's like, "Show me the data. The hospitals don't seem full. How many people really?" And this was Elon Musk, and millions of people saw this interview. So I'm not saying anything that people don't know already. He said, many people. The data is skewed, and they don't really know how many people died directly of just COVID. Many of them, a large percent of them died they had things that were really wrong with them and got corona as well. And there was some, government stimulation that if you died of corona in a hospital, the hospital got paid. So a lot of the deaths were reported as corona. But the one thing that he said, he goes, listen, if you don't do anything, if you don't make anything, if you don't make any stuff, if you don't do anything, there's nothing to do and there's no stuff. Like, if you just keep it like this, there's going to be nothing. That was his main point, and that's what he said. He was like, we need to fucking get out there and start doing things.
Well, yeah, sure. Well, he has a very, narrow focus, which is his company. And, he got into some hot water there, keeping the plant open despite, the county told him to shut down. And they did have a bunch of cases of COVID in his factory.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. And, they shut him down for a while. And
he can afford to fight the cases.
Yeah, I mean, but, he's like probably the main employer there. So like they got to kowtow to him, and they opened up like a week later or something, and then he threatened to move the next big factory that he was going to build. He was originally going to put it somewhere in California, and so he threatened to move to Texas, and he did. They're building a gigafactory now in Austin, Texas, which was supposed to have been in California because he wants to be in just a freer, less regulated environment.
Well, they're also building not just a gigafactory, but they're also building a manufacturing facility down there as well, right? For cars. The cars, not just the batteries.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually I think it's a manufacturing facility for I think they're going to build the Cybertruck in Austin.
Right.
I mean, makes sense, right? Where are you going to build a truck? In Texas, right? You're not going to build a truck in New Jersey.
Right. Well, imagine like he builds these buildings, the biggest man-made, building, warehouse, industrial structures. I mean, of course, the local municipality there is just going to have a massive hard-on when he, big open arms, like come here and employ 100,000.
What he's doing, it's amazing. I mean, it's right in front of our eyes. He's building a gigafactory in Berlin.
Yeah, I know.
Right now. He's building one in Austin. The Shanghai factory is producing Model 3s like at a crazy pace, and they're selling them like hotcakes. And in China, they can't produce them fast enough.
But does he build the gigafactories only for the batteries for the car? I mean, he's building the batteries for sub-power stations and also to support solar. It's not just he's building gigafactories.
Yeah, I know. It's not just for cars. I mean, his company is more like an energy company, and one aspect of it is cars.
I think his Dr. Evil, plans are. I mean, he's not Dr. Evil, but the ultimate plan he has to take over the energy supply, of the world, because he said in that Leonardo DiCaprio documentary about climate change, Leonardo asked them, maybe they had a conversation beforehand about it because he knew to ask the question. He said, how many gigafactories would you need? Stop yawning. I'm not that bored. This is interesting.
It's a long day, man.
I know. It's late at night.
Long.
You did 20 surgeries. They said, how many gigafactories would you need to power the planet? And he said 100. So they've got some plans for these gigafactories.
Well, they have something called Battery Day, which is coming up September 22nd. It's a few weeks where they're going to be announcing, and I think there's going to be some big announcement about the next generation of batteries. And they're getting very, very close to where batteries are can deliver the same performance as gas. And that's when everybody's going to want an electric car. If you can go 500-600 miles on a charge and it charges quickly, that's it. There's no reason for it to have gas anymore.
That's past gas cars. Most gas cars are in the 300
or whatever. I mean, whatever the number is, but there's still, I think a lot of people still have range anxiety, even though they don't need to, but.
I just took out my car. My car has been in the shop, like out and out of the shop this week is the first time I've had this car for a little while, and it has some electrical problems, or I don't know, it was like gas, a seal on the engine, the oil was leaking, like a bunch of things, and I had to get fixed. I'm so fucking ready to, like, I feel like I'm driving like a dinosaur with big feet when I pass a Tesla or a Tesla passes me. Like I feel like I'm in, like, Model T Ford times when I see a guy.
Well, you are, man. It's time to get with the program.
I've been waiting. Been afraid. I didn't know, like, if you were gonna, like, make it or not. But like,
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten one yet, because you've always been into technology. And we went out to the Tesla factory. Remember, we took that trip out there. That was like over 10 years ago when we partied with Elon. Yeah. And I thought you were going to get one, but I'm surprised that you haven't gotten one yet. I mean, I'm on my third already. I told you why. I know they're expensive.
No, it's not just, it was that, I'm not as wealthy as you are, obviously. And I was just like, you know what? I was not sure yet, but you know what? By the time, like, I'm going to be like, he has the Tesla company is successful. He's got SpaceX is successful. He's going to make it to Mars. He's going to put like a colony on Mars. I'll be like, you know what?
Finally, Jeff will be ready. I'm ready now.
I think now that they got the colony on Mars, he's produced 10 million cars. He says he's launching satellites to space every day. Maybe I think I can take the leap now. I can believe that the cars. He won't.
I never realized you were so risk averse. You really are a Jew from Long Island.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. That's why what we were talking about earlier about, like, getting, like, heightened sense of, like, fear or whatever when something, that I'm like, when I'm exposed to something, everything gets extremely amplified, and then everything, after a while, things,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting through COVID, you get to see how sometimes people's personalities are laid bare when they're exposed to something like this. And it's been a real eye-opening for me. Some of the people, my friends and people I work with, not so much my family, because I could predict that, but I mean, I was shocked at the way some people have responded to this in my office, particularly. It's just like, really? Well, without naming any names, but, some of the doctors are, still to this day, even though the numbers are really low, one guy just comes in, changes his clothes, puts on scrubs, wears 2 masks, not one, a surgical mask and an N95, and then glasses, and washes his hands and does the sanitizer between every patient. And we're talking 40, 50 patients. Okay. I mean, I think that's, and it's really time consuming, and crazy. I mean, all I do is I wash my hands between patients and I wear 1 mask, and I've been totally fine. And, so then he goes home and he takes his clothes off in the garage, won't wear those clothes into the house, So it's just like, I think that I didn't expect that. I didn't think he was going to be like that.
Well, I thought you were going to just be like, people had just, mental breakdowns from, the fear of what was going to happen in the future. But
no, well, I mean, I haven't seen any of that.
I got into a hand washing ritual. I typically would wash my hands, before Corona, when I went to the bathroom, I'd wash my hands, and that would be I went to a restaurant, after I went in, I'd wash my hands before I sat down, whatever. But with this thing, man, for like the first fucking 2 months when we were in quarantine, I went out a lot to work because there weren't a lot of people at my facility. So I was out a lot. There was nobody outside. There was nobody driving. There was nobody on the streets.
Right.
I'd get in the car and I'd wipe down the steering wheel. I'd wipe down the hand. Shit, and I'd get to my office.
Well, listen, I'm glad you've made it through this interview without washing your hands. I thought you were going to, like, stop in the middle.
I've been doing it down here. Can you see?
I knew you were doing something down there.
No, not that, but I've been doing this the whole time. No, and now, even though things are calming down a little bit, like, I feel like if I stop washing my hands, like I get like neurotic. So I got to
You know,
go
we've
on.
all, yeah. Look, I'm very low on the anxiety scale, right? But I wash my hands when I come in from the outside, no matter where I've been. I do and it's become a habit. It's like not that I'm worried about it, but it's just like a habit. I automatically now wash my hands, which is, you know what? We're probably, when this is over and you don't have to wash your hands anymore, we're probably going to still do it. And
Right.
we're going to wind up catching fewer colds.
Did you ever find yourself like during the Corona thing when like, the big thing was not touching your face, So you'd wash your hands, or maybe I'd forget to wash my hands and I'd be at my desk at work and I'd be sitting there like looking at the computer and I'd go like,
Oh my God, that's it. I'm going to die now.
I would do this or like rub my nose and I'd be like, fuck, the fuck. I'd be like, my day would be like ruined that I did that.
Right.
I had to rub my hand. I'd take a Clorox
Well,
rub. I'd go like this.
I'm gonna rub my face now, just as an act of
Your hands,
to show you how rebellious I really can be.
your hands are clean at this point. But what else? A couple of other things. We were talking about tennis before. You're an avid tennis player, but you've also done some comedy. Are you thinking about going back and doing a little ophthalmology stand-up comedy?
Yeah, I've actually, I wrote a few, Corona jokes, which, if we ever get back out there, I don't know if they're talking about opening the clubs. I tell you, with the indoor dining, I think they could probably open comedy clubs also at 25% capacity. It's the same thing.
Right.
I don't know if they're gonna.
Right.
I actually have a gig scheduled at the end of September, which I was almost certain is not going to happen.
Right.
It's supposed to be September 26th.
Which comedy club?
Dangerfields.
Oh, really?
On the Upper East.
It's still on schedule to go?
Well, I haven't heard anything, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I'm certain they're not going to allow comedy clubs or any entertainment venues are not opening, I think, before next year. That's what I think. I could be wrong. And that would be great because I think people need it. People need to get out and socialize and, and hear comedy and music or whatever. People are fucking going crazy, being cooped up.
The biggest thing I'm talking to my clients, and some of them are really well-to-do. The biggest thing I'm like, I'm sorry you're going through this. I hope you're doing it right. They're like, I'm fine. I just want, I can't stand being with my fucking family anymore. Like my wife, my kids. I just want to get outside. I'm sick of it already. That's like these really wealthy guys are not used to being with their family, 24/7.
It's like I can't see my mistress. My three mistresses. I haven't seen them in like weeks.
Right. Exactly. I see them on Zoom. What the hell's going on here? I need some real interaction.
So I'm single, so. I've still been socializing, certainly a lot less at the beginning, but now it's back haven't changed my lifestyle personally hasn't changed that much. I'm lucky.
You were going like full bore, like, Tinder Corona. You were like, meeting people willing to go out and meet with like plastic masks.
Well, one of the new categories now on the dating apps is socially distanced. Like the way you're going to meet someone.
Really?
Yeah, is like socially distanced, whatever that means. And that's pretty much what, I don't even know what it means, but that's what everybody puts down. Meaning we can meet, but that only if you wear a mask and we eat outside and, we do all the right things, which, makes sense. People are not going to just, people are not going to like jump into bed with strangers. That is stupid.
The kids are. The kids in their 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
They are.
Well, that's what kids do.
I mean, I'm up. I have some nephews, some relatives, some cousins, and I hear what's going on with them and their friends, and they're like, and at the universities, a lot of the kids are passing it around very, very.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They were doing their thing. So the Bernie Spear forecast for the future is good, and all the people that are going to be watching this can walk away with some positivity that everything's relatively going to be okay. Oh, I have one last question. There has been a lot of just your opinion on this. There's been a lot of discussion and fear, kind of like the Y2K conspiracy type fears, like
Uh-huh.
around, due to like, Antifa and all the different protests and the violence on the streets, people think that there's a little civil war is going to break out in this country around the election time, no matter what, whether he wins or loses.
Yeah. Well, again, I guess I'm an optimist.
I'm going to say
No, I don't think there's going to be blood in the streets.
there'll be a little bit.
I think that, there's a lot of different scenarios about how this election can play out. I'm hopeful that, the Democrats have, they've been gaming out every possible scenario. I know some people who work in the party, and they've gamed out even the craziest scenarios, where he not just refuses to leave office, but, turns out that, he's being accused of committing a bunch of different crimes. So he voluntarily leaves office. He makes Pence president, and then he has Pence pardon him, which allows him to do certain things. And
allows him not to go to jail.
Huh?
Allows him not to go to jail.
Yeah. Among other things. Right. So they've gamed out all of these crazy scenarios, but I also feel that the backstop is the military, and the military does not support him. The generals especially hate his guts. And if he really wants to stay in power, after losing the election, the military will just kick him out. They will forcefully do what it takes to get him the hell out of there, because they know that he's a menace to the world. So I feel like that's the backstop is the military.
They're going to need some sort of mega construction equipment to lift his fat ass out if he loses. And I'm not going to say I'm for or against him, because I'm going to be neutral. I have no interest in knowing the man or being a friend or being supportive of him. But and I definitely think he's out of his fucking mind. But I'm not going to say.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious who you support.
Well, I'm saying both sides are not great.
No.
I want to try and be neutral here. I mean, I'm just saying that
you can't be neutral. This election is not the kind of you can't be neutral.
I don't want to say whether I support or not. I'm just going to look at the man from a character perspective, what he is, and I cannot believe that someone like him, who is out of his fucking mind, is in the White House. I'm not going to say whether he's doing good things for the country, because let me tell you something. I talk to people that are, very successful, people that I didn't think would support him, and they think that he is the only one that is going to bring some sort of balance back to this country. So you just never know what people are going to think. And
well,
I've seen people that are liberal Democrats their whole life go the other way and support him. So I'm not going to say personally what I hope for or not. I'm just saying it's a very confusing time, and the guy is extremely polarizing. And he's him and his. Did you see the RNC convention with his son?
Yeah, I saw all that. I mean, I watched it briefly because it was so disgusting that I couldn't watch. I mean, did you watch? Ivanka's speech.
What?
Ivanka, she spoke. It was. I mean, it's just.
I don't want to. Did Jared speak?
No, I don't think so.
I don't want to listen to Ivanka because I would really throw up listening to her. But I had to watch Donald Trump Jr. and he was definitely on something. He was definitely high.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend too looked like she did like an 8-ball and drank like a case of Bud and was vacuuming like all night long before she got up on stage because she.
Right. So listen, let me give you my quick. Let me give you my one quick COVID joke.
Mm-hmm.
No, election joke.
Okay. Hit me.
Ivanka, came out with her new, now that the election is heating up, she came out with her new line of perfume, which is called Complicit.
Right.
And so Biden immediately countered with his line of cologne, which is called Dementia More, and body wash by Density.
All right, I like that. Oh, Biden. Okay, good. What do you think? What do you think of Kamala Harris as a pick?
I think she's good. I'm totally fine with her. I hope that she pulls in, the constituencies that they need. She's a smart lady. I think the fact that she's, of color is good. People say, oh, she's too aggressive. She's a prosecutor. She was the attorney general in California. She's tough. She's tough and smart. And the other thing is she's relatively young compared to Biden. So if he kicks the bucket or he goes into full-blown by density, then she can become president and she can do the job. So I have no problem with her. I mean, do you?
Biden recently, he must have went to see a neurologist and got some sort of brain tune-up.
Yeah, he seems a little better, right?
He's a little bit on he's a little bit on the money now. I mean,
I think that's because he has a teleprompter. Like they sewed it into his body. It's like anytime he opens his mouth, the words come flying through there.
He's got a little microphone.
Or he's got a permanent earpiece.
No, he's on the money. I can't wait to see that the debates between him and.
I'm not so sure they're going to be any debates. I'm not sure they're going to be any debates. Really? I think the Democrats are just going to stay. I don't think they see anything positive. I think Trump is just going to be Trump, completely insane and belligerent, bullying. And it's going to and Biden is not going to be, he's not the world's greatest debater either. He's just going to look a little half demented. Mm. So I think they feel like they're ahead in the polls. So they'll be like, the hell with the debates. They're only going to lose.
Donald Trump's going to be like, Sleepy Joe, and Biden's going to be like, come on, man. And he's going to go back and forth like.
Right. Biden's going to be like, here's the thing.
Come on, man. But I tell you, I don't want to go off on Trump, but I'm like amazed that guy, like that he can do what he does in front of the whole world. It amazes me. It's like a traumatized young child that's made his way to adulthood that's still ensconced inside this huge, fat, orange body that's just having a tantrum in front of the whole fucking world. It's beyond. It's like World Wrestling Federation times 100.
Hey, listen, was that somebody famous once said something like, nobody didn't succeed by underestimating the intelligence of the American public, And I think this is another example, Mm-hmm. The worse, the more stupid the candidates are, the better they do,
Yeah, I thought, what was
any of these guys, that's a little bit of a problem with Kamala Harris, or Obama. They were too smart, They were up to the task, but Obama was too, professorial.
I want my president to be a lot smarter than me. I don't want to.
Well, most people don't feel that way. They want like someone who's real, who says they actually believe that Trump speaks his mind. He does exactly the opposite. He says what he thinks people want to hear. He's a complete fraud on every level. It's amazing that people don't see that.
I just don't want to feel like that I could get in his seat and speak and present better than he can. And that's how I feel right now. And
absolutely.
That drives me nuts. I want to see it. I want to, like, people want to look up to someone. Everybody, in life has someone that they either believe in, that they're spiritually connected to, that they look up to. The President of the United States, for whatever reason, has lost that seat. Like, he's not a moral compass anymore. I know that there's always
moral
been
compass
behind the president.
I'm worried. Seriously, I'm going to be very worried about the future of the country if he gets reelected. I know. I wanted to say I'm going to say one last story before we go, because first, it's been great having you, and I knew that we'd have a good conversation, and I really appreciate you being here tonight. You're a smart guy. You're a good friend. We've known each other a long time. I just want to say one last thing about Donald Trump. I've been in the same room with him 3 times. We've never actually spoken, but the one time I met him, or not met him, but I saw him, I was 10
rows behind him at the U.S. Open.
You missed your shot, man. You
I
could have
know.
changed. You could have changed the course of history.
I could have fucking tackled him.
You know.
Anyway, he had
You
bodyguards.
saved a lot of COVID lives.
So I was 10 rows behind him at the U.S. Open. I just got out of college, so I was like 21 going on 22. I think I was on the 5-year plan. Maybe I got out in 4 years. I'm not sure. But my first view of Donald Trump in public, he was signing autographs for young children on dollar bills. And I'm 21 years old, and I have like no experience in the world. And I said, this is what this guy is jacking himself off to little kids, signing dollar bills. Like, what is he teaching little children?
Yeah, he's.
That was my first experience with the guy, and I was just like, you know what, loser, fucking loser, whatever. Go and do what you got to do, man. Whatever you got to do. Anyway, on that note, Bernie, man, it's getting late, and I know you got like 30,000 eye surgeries, and I got to work tomorrow, and I have another interview as well, and I really appreciate you being here, and thank you very much. I'll be in touch, and I'll let you know about that eye lightning.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
It's fun.